Over the last couple of months of dealing with coronavirus and then the lockdown and the difficulties and challenges that we're all facing in that situation, one topic has come up time and time again, whether I'm talking to other therapists or talking to friends, family, or clients that I'm working with on Zoom. The topic of how we manage those day-to-day feelings, those day-to-day emotions that just help us get through the day and help us to think more clearly and just be more calm throughout the whole process. So I was very pleased the other day when I got the opportunity to speak to a good friend of mine, another hypnotherapist, Elle, Torry, and we had a conversation based around the idea of 6 strategies you can employ to keep yourself mentally healthy during the lockdown.
Wow.
Well, thanks for joining me on this call, Elle. I'm looking forward to having a chat about these tips for well-being, mental well-being, mental health during the lockdown situation. We're all having this situation imposed upon us and finding, different ways of coping, different things, different challenges we're facing, and different ways of approaching it. So it's good to have a chat with someone else who works in this area. I know you've been seeing clients via Skype, via Zoom, whatever, and talking to people about these sorts of issues, in addition to the things that we normally sort of help people with. So this is going to be a useful video for people, useful list for people, some interesting things for them to try. So I want to crack straight on with it. Do you want to get on with the first item on your list?
So my first tip for everybody is to schedule your day or your week. Now, I've been suggesting this to people who have been joining me on my Zoom group, and also to kids, including my son. Just scheduling, talking to a friend, for example, each day. We've been putting that into our daily routine, and I think it'd be important for people possibly who are living on their own, who are feeling quite isolated as well. Maybe book in, speaking to somebody each day, one of your friends, to really help you. Obviously, plan out your day, set yourself some tasks to do, whether it's fitness or whatever. And don't beat yourself up if you can't actually fulfill those tasks. Just set them with the intention of making them your goal, but don't beat yourself up if you can't actually manage to do them.
Yeah, I like that. It's good. It's an interesting sort of juxtaposition of the idea. We've all got a load of freedom, we've had these structures, these external structures taken away, and we can structure our own day. And it sounds like a wonderful idea, but then you start to find yourself drifting and feeling a bit rudderless sometimes. So putting some of that structure back in intention. Be anchoring, anchors you to some sort of daily routine and sort of, grounds you and makes you feel a bit more stable, maybe. So
massively. And I think it takes away any boredom that people may be struggling with. If you plan things, for example, a lot of people might say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've been too busy. I haven't been able to get in contact with you." Those kind of, you can actually start to sort of schedule it in and say, right, well, I haven't spoken to such and such for ages. I'm going to do that. Or get on with that list of things that I want to do around the house, or whatever.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to do first item on my list as well, which is a thing that I advise lots of my clients to do anyway. It's a thing called square breathing, and the basic idea is to give yourself a little task to take care of. If you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling unsettled, if you're feeling any kind of emotions rising and you want to manage or deal with those things, you take a nice deep breath in, hold for a couple of seconds. Traditionally is in for 5 seconds, hold for 2 seconds, let go, slowly breathe out for 5 seconds, and then hold for 2 more seconds. I'm a bit more loose about it, and you can change the numbers as you like, and I've changed it slightly on the advice of someone else. This is, unfortunately, I can't take credit for the idea, but if you spend longer breathing out than you spent breathing in, you're changing the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in your system, which stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system and releases all sorts of hormones and chemicals to help your system to calm down, to disperse adrenaline and that kind of thing. So I normally do 5 and 7, and the 2 seconds at the beginning and end, just hold for a moment, really. It's not, it's a bit arbitrary, 2 seconds. But really, just take a nice deep breath in, hold for a couple of seconds, spend longer breathing out than you were breathing in. And yeah, it just calms you right down, gives you a nice mental reset. It's not a cure for the thing that caused the anxiety or the heightened emotions in the first place. It's a sticking plaster, but sticking plasters are useful. You know, they can just help you get through that situation. It's still worth then going and dealing with whatever it is that caused you the anxiety, whether that's by resolving a situation with someone, going and seeing a therapist, or whatever it is that's going to sort of help you in the big picture. But as a short-term strategy, you're just feeling stressed out, you're just feeling anxious about stuff. Square breathing for 30 seconds, a minute or two, can really change the situation and make you feel a lot better about things.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to add to that as well. With any kind of breathing, obviously, it's a wonderful thing to be practicing. Also, perhaps putting in some positive suggestions as well, just to calm yourself down and just to feed that back into the subconscious. You know, like I'm calm, Elle, or I'm calm and relaxed. I remember having to go into A&E a few weeks ago, and it was quite a different experience to what I'd ever experienced before. And you know, all I did was a bit of breathing and you know, giving myself those positive messages. You know, I'm calm and I'm well, and you know, those kinds of things. Yeah, I mean, it's another sort of off on a tangent, as we do whenever we talk. We head off on all these different tangents, but yeah, your internal dialogue is massively important, and you know, changing your internal dialogue, just intentionally having a positive internal dialogue can make a massive difference as well. And you can certainly add it to breathing techniques and that kind of thing. So brilliant. Okay, so I think that covers that. So do you want to have the next turn do the next thing on your list? Well, that leads nicely on to my next suggestion. So think about your positives about lockdown. You know, are you enjoying the change of the pace? You know, I've certainly been going out and seeing people in the village that I live in when I've been, you know, having my daily exercise and having more meaningful conversations, obviously at a safe distance, with fellow villagers. And many of them are saying that they're really enjoying the change of pace, and even anxiety sufferers, you know, that I've treated and that I know of, some of them are saying, yes, actually, it's taking the pressure off them, you know, quite considerably. So I would really focus on, you know, those positives. Think about what you also might want to keep from this experience. Maybe what changes you might want to make within your lives, and you know, in a positive way.
Yeah, I think, you know, this the old saying, it's an ill wind that brings no good, you know, and obviously this is a dreadful situation. Lots of people are in a bad way, and that's awful. But for us lucky people that are not ill and we're in lockdown, all we're being asked to do is stay at home. It's not necessarily what we'd want to be doing, but there's positives that come out of it. You know, time to focus on things that you haven't had time to focus on, to get in touch with people you haven't spoken to for a while, to catch up on Netflix, to do some reading, to, you know, there's lots of positive things. And certainly you said something important, you know, what you want to keep at the end of lockdown. There's definitely some things that in terms of structure in my life that I'm now thinking, well, I can travel a bit less, I can stay at home and do things a bit more. I can, you know, there's things that I didn't know that I could do from home, or I was concerned about doing from home. I'm certainly going to continue to see clients via Skype. I mean, I always have seen the odd one via Skype or Zoom, but it's always been an afterthought. It's like, if the client can't get to me, or if there's a, you know, a good reason for it, then we'll work via Zoom. But I'm seeing all my clients, obviously I'm seeing all my clients via Zoom at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a really sort of convenient way. I know you're doing the same thing.
Yeah. And I really like it as well. I think it's great, and you know, and you can be a little bit more flexible as well, I think, when you see people. Obviously, the plus side for me, I don't have to hoover. I've got, you know, small people in the house.
Just tidy up a tiny bit of your house, and I'm exactly the same. Yeah.
Yes, I like that. But you know, it works in the same way, doesn't it, Ben? And I think that's the important thing as well. You know, yes, some people like to see people face to face in person in the comfort of, you know, where they're working from. But you know, with hypnotherapy, it works in exactly the same way, really.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? No, so that's definitely a positive I'm going to be keeping afterwards. And there's a few other things that I can look at and say, this is actually, you know, there's some good things to this, there's some good sides to this. So definitely. Good. Okay, So moving on, a thing that I've found very useful is, and I found this to be a useful thing in day-to-day life, not just to do with the lockdown, but just in how I approach problems, how I approach issues, things that stress me out or have caused me anxiety, is to separate things into lists of things you can control and things you can't control. And it comes from Stoic philosophy, Stoics with a capital S. And the idea that spending time, effort, energy, emotion on things that you can't control is a waste of your time and effort and energy and emotion. There's nothing you can do about those things. And that's not to say that you shouldn't think about those things. It's not to say you shouldn't try and understand those things, that you shouldn't try and come to terms with the difficulties and accept that some of those things are are going to happen, and manage those thought processes. Absolutely, these things can be thought about, but spending too much time fretting about them and spending too much time worrying about them is a waste of your energy, and it's an opportunity lost, because you can spend that time, effort, energy on things that you can actually control. And ironically, although you can't control those things, you may be able to influence them by having a more positive attitude, by focusing on the things you can control, making yourself feel better, making yourself more stable in how you approach things, can help you to then confront and deal with the things you can't control in a positive way, which can actually influence them. So
yeah, definitely. No, I like that idea. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I think that just about covers that one. So do you want to do your next thing, the next thing on your list?
Okay, so so I was thinking, really, especially if you're a key worker, I mean, for everybody really, but giving yourself positive suggestions. So like when I said, when I went to hospital, I was feeding myself those positive suggestions. So it's kind of recapping that a little bit. And it's things like mentally rehearsing something that's going to happen in a positive way. So, for example, one of the people in my Zoom group, I do a little support group. We were chatting about, how anxious they felt when they went shopping. And I just said, right, well, mentally rehearse your shopping trip going really, really smoothly. But not just that, that you can be able to kind of deal with anything unexpected that may come up, like any kind of challenges or anything, but in a calm and a collected way. So by doing that, you're preparing yourself to just, be able to do it, and it will be a lot smoother, and you can feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more relaxed while you're doing that. Obviously, for the key workers, going to work and just sort of rehearsing what your working day is going to be like in a positive way. And then, really kind of keep reinforcing that as well. I think it's really good. And again, any positive suggestions about keeping well, and because it's obviously going to be challenging for them, very challenging, and it's going to be about how they can support themselves emotionally and mentally whilst they're doing the terrific tasks that they're having to be asked to do all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Mental rehearsal is a thing we all do it anyway. We all rehearse things. When we're dreading doing something, we imagine it going terribly or whatever. It's it can be a really powerful thing. How you imagine the situation going can fill you with dread. So you might as well do it on purpose and do it positively, and create a situation where you're you're in charge of the narrative and steering it towards what you want. It's a thing that in hypnotherapy we do it all the time anyway. We the technical term for it, as you know, is future pacing, but it's basically just mental rehearsal. You get someone, when you're working with them, to mentally rehearse the new behavior and the new positive, and the subconscious mind can click onto that. It doesn't necessarily, this is the old adage, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between a vivid fantasy and reality. So you give them as vivid a fantasy as possible, and now the subconscious mind has an experience of I know how to do that. I know I've done that before, so I can just follow this other path. So yeah, mental rehearsals are a really powerful technique. So my final thing that I advise people to do, and again, it's a thing I advise people to do anyway, but it's particularly important in this situation, is exercise. We've all been told we can go out for half an hour, once a day to do some exercise. My advice is absolutely make the most of that and do some exercise at home as well. Exercise is a thing that is free, and it gives you so many positives. Feeling good about how you are in your body. Feeling good about the energy levels you've got. No matter what mental challenges you're facing, feeling good physically is going to make those easier. It's going to make those easier to cope with, and it's one less thing to worry about. And there's a thing that we're now starting to see people talking about on Facebook with this. We're far enough into lockdown that they've been doing this exercise, and to start with it might be hard work and it might be a challenge to knuckle down and do it, but after a week of doing it, a couple of weeks of doing it, especially if you're hitting it hard, you start to get endorphin rushes from doing it and actually look forward to doing it. And you start to move better, you feel better, you sleep better, your mood is generally higher. So certainly if you dedicate yourself to it and do it regularly, and it doesn't have to be hard exercise, it doesn't have to be like an equivalent of hitting the gym. Just going out for a walk every day is good. But if you can bring yourself to do something that raises your heart level, raises a sweat for half an hour every single day while you're on this lockdown, it's going to generally improve your fitness, generally improve your mood, and those endorphin rushes are brilliant. And when you get to that point where you're over the hump of you've just started exercise and you're in the habit of doing it, it then doesn't take very long, like 5 or 10 minutes into the exercise, you start really enjoying the exercise. And sad when your hour of exercise for the day is up and you have to go home.
No idea. I think that's great, Ben. And it is wonderful seeing all these challenges that are popping up again. Like I'm trying to do the 30 squat challenge at the moment, which oh my goodness, it's insane. But at the same time, I'm pretty determined to get through it this time. I think I tried it a few years ago, but I was like, well, why not do it? And I think that's the thing, if people see these things and think, even if they think at the beginning, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Again, you can set yourself that target and, do what you can, and I think we're getting that time to go out and get exercise every single day. Again, another positive from having lockdown, or I wasn't really getting the time to necessarily go and do that every day. And it's just wonderful to be able to factor that into the weekly schedule. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, all right, brilliant. So I think that just about covers everything we wanted to talk about. So thanks again for doing this with us. It's great to have a chat with you and talk about these cool things. And we'll no doubt we'll have another chat soon anyway, because we do, and we'll go off on a tangent and talk about goodness knows what for hours on it. Okay, so take care of yourself, Elle. Thank you for joining me, and I will speak to you soon.
Ben, take care.
And you, bye bye. Thanks.